Welcome everybody. Today you are going to be conducting a lab. It's called Coastal Winds and Clouds. In order to get to the lab, you're going to click into the assignment for today and go to Clever. When you get to Clever, you are going to find an orange icon with an EL in it, and you are going to click on that. That will bring you to Gizmos, and when you get to Gizmos, you will click on Coastal Winds and Clouds and launch it. Your screen will look a little different than mine. When you launch it, it will pop up a simulator for you. The other thing you will need to have up on your screen is the worksheet that goes with this lab. And it looks like this over here. Some things to know about this lab that I want to tell you about. Notice that you have a scene here. You've got an ocean and you've got some land. These two different surfaces are going to show you that the Earth actually heats up differently. We've already seen that by conducting a lab around my house where we measure temperature at different surfaces like grass and pavement. But you're going to see how that affects the movement of air, specifically movement of air horizontally. We call that wind. In your simulation, you're going to notice there are a couple of things. There's a boat. The boat moves. You're going to notice there's a clock, an analog clock and a digital clock. There's a play button, a pause button, a reload button, and a back button. So just know these things. When you click play, you'll notice that time goes by and that the night becomes day and things start moving. All right, you're going to be asked to notice how things are moving and what's happening. So just be aware of that. Whenever you're ready to reload, you just click that reload button. Also notice that you can set up drifting balloons or weather probes. The weather probe will tell you three different things. It'll tell you the wind speed, the temperature, and the altitude, which is just the height above the ground. So when you bring that, you can click and drag that. When you bring it down all the way to the surface, it will be at 0 feet altitude. That's just right at the surface. All right, so if it's right here on the water, we'll notice that it is 68.0 degrees Fahrenheit and the wind speed is 15.1 miles per hour, and it is in this direction. So those are the functions of your lab. There are several parts to your lab. The first part you're going to take care of is the prior knowledge part. Prior knowledge, you're just thinking about what you know, specifically in this case about a hot air balloon. We've already talked a little bit about that and how warming air gets less dense and it tends to rise, and that's partly why that balloon goes up. There's a lab introduction that's going to give you some information about wind. Always a good idea to highlight, to write notes on here, just to kind of get yourself accustomed to the information that we're about to dig into. All right. The warm-up, this part is where you are going to get to play around with your simulator. It's going to help you learn the controls for this simulator. So please follow your directions carefully. If you need help with the reading, use your text-to-speech features. And then the main event for this lab is Activity A. Activity A, you are going to be asking and answering this question: how is wind speed and direction related to air temperature? So when that sun sends its radiant energy down to Earth and it's absorbed by particles in the surface, and it transfers to the air particles above the surface, how does that affect the speed and direction of the wind? Now, you're going to get to a table here where you're collecting data. This is where you will use your weather probe. So you're going to click that weather probe on and notice that there's a time column. So you're going to measure at these different times of the day. So use your pause button whenever you need to. And you're going to measure the ocean temperature, the land air temperature, and the sea breeze and land breeze or sea breeze or land breeze. And so you will know which one it is because you've read this information involved. All right, and then also the wind speed. A couple questions to answer, trying to analyze what you've put down in that table, and then you are going to be done. Part B is optional, so please, it's an optional thing for you to do. But I do recommend you try it if you have the time. All right, we will go over this together when I get back, and I hope that you have a really excellent day.